Greetings, everyone. Hey, Judah, DFG Gideon Flight. Hey, guys. I thought I would take a moment and share a couple of experiences that I had this week. And I'm just going to say in a public environment, okay? In a place where I'll just be straight, my place of employment. And this goes right back to, you know, not only political expediency, but it also goes back to intellectual intelligence as well. And there is something happening right before our eyes, and I saw it on three separate occasions last week. And I'm going to share with you all three occasions, and I'm going to share some additional information that was brought to my attention by by a Hebrew Israelite sister that happens to be my niece. Uh, Around just a video where they were interviewing on I think it was one of these I think it's RT News, Russian television news, and they did this interview of a person from I think she was from Korean, someone from Boston, and then someone from the United Kingdom. And all three of these were supposed to be experts. And so I guess I'll start with them and I'll kind of come all the way back to my experiences. Well, the conversation was around, obviously, COVID-19. These were so-called health experts. And the host was trying to get these individuals to talk in terms of the pandemic, or the pandemic, however you see it, and its far reaches throughout, the world, and what is the solution? How does the economy coexist with quarantining and social distancing? And how that social distancing and quarantining has pretty much destroyed, small businesses around the planet, including right here in America. I think the last number I heard was something like 100 million small businesses are not coming back behind this bullshit pandemic. And it really is a bullshit pandemic, because as they were talking about these numbers, they brought up India, for example. And they said, well, India has 3 million people who have COVID-19. 3 million people. Doesn't that sound like a big ass number, guys? 3 million people. But in truth, you know what 3 million people percentage is of the total population in India, which has 1 billion people? I'm going to give you the number. That's 0.003%. Let me say that again. That's 0.003%. Yet they shut down pretty much the whole goddamn economy behind something that's not even that's, again, 0.00%. You know what I'm saying? Actually, if you know anything about statistics, that's almost not even a number that you would really register in terms of impact. But yet that's the number that they have used to have, I guess, 1 billion people walking around with masks on their face. And the question I would tell you, who made those masks and who's benefiting, who's profiting from, the manufacturing of those masks and everything else. You've heard me talk about this before. The string, the ink, the wood, the fiberglass. All these materials that they're using, the chemicals for the sanitizers, the cloth, all this stuff, guys. The rich, that's who. The rich are getting richer at the expense of the ignorance of the poor. Because truly, if you understood statistics, you would understand that nobody should be out of work behind a so-called epidemic that's affecting less than 0.00% of the population, 0.003% of the population. That number is so damn low that really should be considered harmless. But yet the whole world economy is under assault, but all of us are under assault as well. And even worse than the pandemic is the fact that not breathing properly, getting the necessary oxygen for your brain, at some point will cause some form of delusion where you're just not thinking clearly. And that's the other part of this conversation. Again, my experiences this week. I'll give you all three of them. The first one, customer comes by, doing a validation process for this customer. You know what I'm saying? And the woman tells me, don't come near me unless you got your face covered up. And I proceeded to tell the woman, well, go ahead on by. I have no problem, if that's how you're feeling. And then she goes on to tell me that, it's state mandated that you have your face covered up. I said, this state can mandate any damn thing it wants to mandate. But the one thing it can't mandate is my life. This is my damn life. And I'd be damned if I'm going to go around breathing in carbon dioxide, in essence, my own shit and piss. I know some of you guys don't like me talking, straight language like that. But again, you need to get out of your delusion, especially you so-called Christians who think that cussing is vulgarity. It's not the same thing. When the scripture tells you about cursing, it's talking about literally occultic behavior. Like that, like going in those temples that a lot of you guys go in, praying in front of and under these places that got crosses on top of the building. Things made, images of something made with wood or stone. As your scripture tell you, you have no business in those kind of environments. When Yeshua talked about cursing, that's what he's talking about. Because he surely could not be talking about vulgarity because, again, he told men that they were a bunch of snakes and vipers and that their righteousness was like dung, which is the same word as shit. So unless either Yeshua is the biggest hypocrite known to mankind, since so many people believes in him, and you Christians who call, this white Jesus thing that you guys got going on, Judah, that throws me off 100% of the time. I mean, you've come into the knowledge of who you are, and you still don't know who you are. You're talking about, a lost sheep who truly needs a shepherd. But again, I digress. But that was the commentary between the two of us. Happened to be, again, a European female. In which, again, why would you confront me like that, and come at me that way? You know what I'm saying? Because, again, no state should mandate your life, guys. If I wanted to take my life right now, who's going to stop me from doing it? So it is my life. It's my soul. So whatever I want to do with it, that's up to me. And secondly, if you got your face covered as she did, if the masks are so effective, how in the hell am I a threat to you? So if you're afraid to come close to me because my face isn't covered and your face is covered, then you just answered the question around, is your mask effective? I understand if you say, hey, cover up because you might get somebody else sick. But if you say, don't come near me, and now your logic is not logical. Again, to my earlier statement, intellectual intelligence. Because intellectual intelligence would say, well, I got my face covered up. If you knew what's good for you, you'll cover up your face. And that'll be the end of that. And go ahead and do your job. But that was episode 1. Episode 2. Again, I think this mask is effing with people's, brain cells. Because this woman comes up here, the second woman, Esau again, called me, how you doing, big boy? B-O-Y. How are you doing, big boy? Now, if you can look at me physically, I think you would all agree I'm not a big man. Tall, but I'm not a big man. Call me big boy. This woman probably was maybe in her early 60s, late 50s. I look back at her and say, first of all, girl, I don't think you see any boys in front of you. You always get that. You follow me? But the truth of it, she got caught slipping. Because again, that oxygen not going to the brain, and the fact that they're becoming so emboldened because this COVID, warning, and you can tell people to wear their masks. Now it's giving them this courage that now they've emboldened them. That now they feel like they can come out there and call black men boys. At least some of them. That was episode 2. But if you know anything about me, you call me a boy, you better be ready for me to call you a girl and then still correct you for calling me a boy. Because that I am not. I haven't been a boy for decades. Okay, that's a long time ago. But that was episode 2. Episode 3. Guy comes in, wants service somewhere. Told the guy who can provide that service is on break. You don't have anybody else? No, I don't have anybody else. He'll be back in a few minutes. Guy got all indignant with me. What's your name? Well, since I'm in charge of the place, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to give him a real answer. I'm going to give this white guy who has nothing better to do with his time but to come at me aggressively while I'm so busy. I don't really have the time. I was, to think clearly because I've got so many different multitasks going on. But because he can't wait, because his time is more important than everybody else's time, including my time. And I'm in the workplace working, trying to create an environment so they can get the things that they need. Ask me, what's your name? And I thought about it for a moment. And my antennas are going up to my whiskers are getting, it's like a lion. You know what I'm saying? You poke the lion, you poke the bear, I'm ready to growl. I thought about it, said, my name is the boss. This joker looked around, looked at the ceiling, looked around, and what? What you said? What? Now granted, I am in charge of the place. All right? All I said was my name is the boss. I didn't tell him I was his boss. I told him my name is the boss. Oh, I'm calling your corporate office. I'm going, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. I said, I don't think I will. Now, granted, I can assure you, I am not going to regret it because there's nothing that can happen that's going to cause me to regret it. Because my life is not centered on, Esau providing bread for me. Yah will he's given me the wisdom and the insight to always have bread to eat and a cover over my head. So my point is, I don't know, unless he was going to physically do something, I don't know what other kind of regret he was talking about. I may have a different story report for you later on, but I won't be in regret. I can assure you that. But beyond that, I realized this guy, I saw the face, this guy looks familiar. How many of you guys remember a while back, I told you about this colonel in the Louisiana National Guard had warned me that the worst was yet to come in terms of this pandemic and what was going to happen in terms of martial law. Well, I didn't realize he was out of uniform, but I realized later on, oh, this was that guy. And all I could think to myself, so what it is that, Esau could not deal with a so-called black man stating in his face that I was a boss. See, they're so used to us, yes, massa, and yes, oh yeah, I'm in charge, and being so humble and meek when they come around. Because see, if you went up to him and asked him as a colonel, I'm the colonel. Do as I say, not as I do. If you walked up and said, well, who are you? I'm a colonel. He wouldn't have had any problem saying that. But I said I was the boss of the place, which I happened to be. He was all in his feeling and outraged how dare this, this Hugh man tell a white man that he's the boss. And you might say, well, where's all this going? It's going back to a point, guys, I'm telling you, that we as Judah had better wake the hell up. Because COVID is not only, and they want to blame this on Trump. Trump didn't start racism. Racism, if you think Trump started racism, you're an idiot. I don't know, some of you say, well, yeah, but when he started talking about make America great again, he emboldened. No, he didn't. Corona emboldened these devils. Because Corona gave them the perfect excuse in all three cases to confront someone who they really, quite frankly, had no business confronting behind no bullshit. All three of them happened to be white. And these are three people a year ago would have never came at me like that. At least I don't think, not in their right minds, I don't think they would have. But what I'm saying is these people, this masking and stuff, is not only emboldening these people, it's causing them to become insane. And then they hide behind the mask like many people hide behind social media and talk shit. Because now they think they can say whatever they want to say to you because like the woman told me, oh, the state mandates it. So am I a slave to the state? So can the state mandate how I live my life inside of my body now? A so-called free man? If I was incarcerated, then I'm sure I'm the property of the state, but I'm not incarcerated. In a public environment of my own free will, and you're going to tell me the state's going to mandate what I do with my own personal life. And guys, my point, that's where all this is going. It's emboldening these devils to come out of the closet now and with their racism. And again, I'm going to state this again. If you're blaming this on Trump, then fine, let Trump lose his election. And let's see what their attitudes are under the Biden administration. Because like, remember, Biden is the one who came up with the bill to say lock our people up and throw away the key. That's Biden. I don't care what crack did. Although the Nixon and Reagan administration were the two administrations that allowed, and the Bush administration, put crack in the communities to support their war, to take power in Central America. And they had no problem destroying our communities and locking us up and throwing away the key, as Biden said. So if you think that Trump administration has emboldened racism, you watch what's going to happen under the Biden when you refuse to take the vaccine. Remember, 7 out of 10 of us say we're not going to take it. I'm talking about Judah. So what do you think is going to happen? You think they're just going to sit on the sideline and let you just resist taking that vaccine when they already got contract tracers who are going to be watching your doors, watching your streets, watching your community, looking for any excuse to report you so that the military can be at your door? You don't think Biden and that administration is going to force that stuff on us? Come on, guys. At least Trump is saying, I don't believe the mask is effective. I think it's bullshit. And then every now and then he got to do the political correct thing and say it, well, we need to wear the mask. But then he turned right back around and says bullshit. But it's the Biden administration and those Democrats who are trying to push that on you guys and push that. So you don't think they're going to come at you, Judah? You're going to vote for the very administration, most of you guys, that's going to destroy your life and destroy this economy once and for all. But on the other side of it, maybe this delusion is coming from Yah. Maybe this is all a part of Yah's plan. Because man has become so arrogant that man has placed himself in the place of Yah. So-called man. But I got to say man too, because Judah is just a bigger part of this foolishness as Esau is. I'm talking about this so-called social distancing and mask wearing and vaccines, at least some of them. At least those in the boule, in the top echelons of so-called government, politics, and business. But Yah did something a long time ago when men tried to elevate themselves above him. And we've seen that again with these storms. You heard me talking about that. Using, HARP, to curb these storms. There's another storm down in the Gulf right now. You can see it's stalled again. Since when did hurricanes and tropical storms just stall and stop in one place? Oh, I know when. When man started playing God. G-O-D in this instance, because his wickedness is from the fallen angels. And now they're stopping these storms and trying to maintain these storms to keep these storms from going to these heavily populated areas, because quite frankly, the government does not have the FEMA resources to build and give these people money for recovery. So what they're doing, trying to figure out where can we place these storms, because they can't get rid of the storm, not yet. That day probably comes as Yah tarries. So they got to figure out, okay, where can we go and move this storm? So right now, I wouldn't be surprised that it ends up somewhere in between Lake Charles and New Orleans. Right in that little gap, Lafayette, Baton Rouge. Again, populated areas, but not the most populated area. Not real big economies in those areas. They'll probably shoot it right through there. Let's see what happens. We'll know by the end of this week. All those other storms out in the Gulf, out in the Atlantic, you see they bent them and sent them all kind of different places. You didn't notice that, did you? I did. So the weaponry is already, so it's man putting himself into the place of Yah. That's why I use those examples. Not that fact that I was digressing or going in a different direction. I'm just showing you why this mentality and why judgment is happening to these devils. And I'm talking in this case, the Judah devils as well. That's why it's happening to us. It's happening because we have forgotten Yah. And Yah has come to Judah and told Judah, cry out, open up your mouth, speak forward, confront them, just like I confronted those devils who confronted me. Talking about in my professional workplace. Because at the end of the day, I'm a professional, but I'm human. I'm Judah first, professional second. I'm going to say that again. I'm Judah first, professional second. And I'm going to make sure them devils know it every single time they confront me. I'm a peace-loving man, but you better leave me the hell alone. Judah. I'm sorry, Esau. Judah, you too. if you all in your feelings about this. But let me move forward. Yah judged this planet a long time ago for that kind of bullshit. They wanted to build a tower. Remember that the Tower of Babel that they wanted to build to the heavens? And Yah destroyed their asses and confounded their languages. And they had them and scattered them all over the goddamn place. They didn't know which way was up, as the saying goes. You see, Yah is doing the same thing now. They don't know whether to choose quarantining or business. And that's what that video with that earlier show was about. They didn't know what way to go. They were totally confused. Well, we need to get the economy started back, but we can't get the economy started back, while we're quarantining, but we got to quarantine to get the economy back. Yeah. Yeah. If that sounds like confusion, it sounded like it to me. Sounds like it to me. So Yah is judging them again. They don't know whether to shit or take a piss. Or, I don't know, take a bath. So that's where it is now. And again, another thing that came up in that video, they were talking about whoever came up with the vaccine, they're going to make a lot of money. And guys, unfortunately, that's what Satan is and his cohorts have always been about. Lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. All they want is their food, their luxury, their entertainment, and their slaves. In Judah, you don't have to guess where they see you in that process. They're slaves. And that's why this social distancing has opened up a doorway to take us back 40, 50, 60, 70 years now, with whites getting in the face of so-called blacks, insulting them, making threats towards them, being aggressive towards them without recourse, or at least what they think without recourse. But they know that the federal government is going to be backing that up pretty soon. Yes, when they start this contact tracing, and as you already know, guys, ladies, Judah, they've already made you the target. And again, that's what's so confounding to me, is why would we ever support any type of politics when these politics have clearly shown that they don't give a damn about us. They give a damn about an immigrant, someone coming from another country, anybody other than Judah. They have never tried to make us whole. Well, they are never going to make us whole. We bring up reparations. They bring up what reparations? What check? We don't owe y'all a damn thing. Yet, if you go to the book of Matthew, and you can go research it for yourself, where these Pharisees and Sadducees, Edomites. That's what they were, Edomites. They weren't us. They were masquerading as us, the false Jews, pretending to be us, as those ones over in Israel and many throughout the United States, the fake ones, the synagogue of Satan. Just as they did then, they're doing now. And Yeshua said that. He said that when you bring up the question, when he brought up the challenge to them about what they did to our ancestors, killed them, slaughtered them, impoverished them, enslaved them. They said, well, if we had been around at the time of our ancestors, we would have did that. Isn't that what Esau is saying right now? What do I have to do with my ancestors and slavery? You know what he told them? Go read Matthew chapter 23. You know what he told them? By the very admission that you said what your ancestors did makes you equally guilty for the sins of your ancestors. So Esau, just as Yeshua, and especially you so-called Christians, go read your Bible. You Christians who are anti-reparations for American descendants of slaves, go read your Bible. Go read Matthew 23. And look what Matthew 23 says about the sins of your father you're equally guilty of. And so when you come at us talking about you had nothing to do with it, you're a Christian. That's why I said the whole religion is just a damn, it's a cult of devil worship. Because how can you say one thing and do something totally different? Either you believe the words of Yeshua or you don't. And if Yeshua said you're responsible for the sins of your father, why aren't you giving reparations to those who are rightly due reparations when you know for a fact that America benefited on the backs of free labor for 400 years? Free labor through enslaving of the people, Jim Crow the mass prison industry complex, vagrancy laws, black codes, etc. You know this, red district, red line, you know this. You know it. Even to this very day. Has 13% of the population, black men 12% of the population, somewhere in that number, but representing almost 60% of the prison population. Why? Because they didn't end slavery. At least not for us. The 13th Amendment wasn't written for us. We thought it was, but they went right from the plantation to the prison camps. That's where they went. A place like Louisiana, for example. This state is probably 70% white, and yet Louisiana State Penitentiary is almost 70% black. Something like, I think the number is 38,000 prisoners in that prison. Right here in this state. How can a state that be 70% white, 60% of its inmates are black, almost 70% of its inmates are black, and you thinking slavery ended up our people? No, it's just hidden in plain sight. And this racism that's becoming very, very apparent. I'm telling you guys, that is called what's the word when you're hiding behind something, you're hiding the truth behind a lie. Donald Trump is being used as an excuse to justify racism. Racism is here. Bigotry has always been. This country was built on it. Hatred of Judah. So how is that on Trump? And yet you got Biden, you got Clinton, clearly both of them pushing mass incarceration of our people, calling us predators, coming up with crime bills, the Clinton bill, etc. 3 strikes, remember that? All behind those Democrats that some of you so-called Judah Christians love so damn much. And add Kamala Harris in there too, because her crimes against the people. But she's not the people, so of course she can do it. What the hell she cares? But I'll circle the thing all the way back, guys. If you think for 1 second that this whole thing around this social distancing and masking and vaccines is about the betterment of the people, you are sadly mistaken. This is judgment by Yah. This is judgment by Yah. He's going to destroy this whole planet. That's the word. Go read Revelation 13, 14, 18, 21. It's there. 22. Go read the Apocryphal books. Jubilees, 1st Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees, 2nd Ezra. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of the new one. You don't think these people know about that? I'm talking about the hidden hand, so to speak. I heard someone say the other day that, government is the shadow of big business. I said, that makes a lot of sense. Government is the shadow, or the shadow cast by big businesses. So everybody thinking that this is about Trump and all this stuff. No, this is about other people behind. This is Walmart. This is the Walton family. This is the Gates family. This is the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Vanderbilts, the DuPonts, and a whole bunch of other people that most of us never heard of. Rothenheimers. But again, Judah, it's time to wake up. Open your eyes. You follow me? And you men of Judah, it's time to become single-minded. Get your mind right. You better focus before it's too late. I'm running out of time. Again, you've heard me say it many times. Who has time to be sitting around watching football and basketball when all shit is about to hit the fan and we're the target of the shit that's going to get slung? But there we go. Mass delusion again. Just like Yah scattered them in Tower Baby, he scattered their brains this time. And now they're all walking around. We're all walking around. Most people walking around like bumbling idiots. True evidence right in your face. You know good and so damn well. When the last time you heard somebody just dropping dead? If this virus was airborne, as they told us, you'll be seeing dead bodies laying all over the damn place, guys. Remember they told us, oh, you don't want to get the old people sick. Now there's nobody old anywhere near you, and they're telling you to put the mask on because what? Oh, because it's for the betterment of everybody. Knowing that breathing in your own carbon dioxide could cause serious internal problems with your organs, your respiratory system, and equally your brain. No air going to your brain makes you somewhat delusional, makes people a little crazy and getting crazier by the minute. And when Esau gets crazy, you better believe Judah becomes the target. Therefore, we don't have time to be sitting around being entertained by games. This shit is serious. And you had better get serious, my brothers and sisters, because these people are not playing. But you don't have to listen. You don't have to be prepared. But when the time comes and that door gets shut and locked in, and there's nothing else you're going to do, you're going to regret the day you didn't hearken these words. You're going to regret it. I was reading in the book of, I think it's pronounced Baruch. I think it's spelled B-A-U-C-H. Look up that book, chapter 1. You know what it talks about? The first couple of scriptures? It talks about Judah eating its own daughters and sons. Eating them, literally eating them because of starvation. Go read it. Go read it. If you don't have a pocketbook, Google up Baruch. I think I spelled it. I think it's pronounced Baruch, but you get it. Just go Google it up and read chapter 1. And you think history can't repeat itself. If they did it then, they can do it now. And some of you guys, that's what you're going to be left to do. Because you didn't prepare, you didn't hearken, and Yah's going to judge you. And he's going to give you a strong delusion that you're going to believe this lie, and he's going to leave you to those creatures out there, those wicked devils out there, and he's going to let them devolve you until he comes back and wipe all of their rotten asses off this planet. And some of you rotten Judites, you're going to take your ass right along with them, because you deserve to go with them, because you rejected Yah, you rejected the truth, you're still doing it. Instead of stepping back and reevaluating, studying to show yourself to be approved. I think that's 2 Timothy 3:16. Go read it. You're supposed to be researching and studying to get the approval, to get the validation, to get the understanding in your own book. Forewarning you of what's to come, so that you can be prepared and not get caught unawares. But many of you will, because you're too worried about who's going to win the NBA championship or what your football team score was last year. Or last week, I'm sorry. Or today. There was a time for that. Like Paul said, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away my childish thoughts. Right now, playing games and watching games is childishness. You need to be thinking like an adult and planning for what's coming. Especially you men with families, little children and spouses, with responsibilities. And I bet you most of you don't have anything prepared, nowhere near ready for a crisis that's coming. And the target that you are. You think these races are bad now. You wait till next year and see what's going to happen. You watch. When they really start saying you take the vaccine or else. So that 7 or 10 that I started this video on, you watch what's going to happen. And you're not girded up. You're not ready. You're not prepared because you've been sitting around and trying to figure out who you're going to bet on for the Super Bowl, the football pool. But when they finish with your ass, football is going to be the last thing on your mind. You can believe that. But you deserve it anyway, if you're that foolish. That's Daniel said, the wise will understand, but the wicked going to continue their own wickedness and drown on their own vomit. The dog goes back to his own vomit. That's scripture, my brother, sister. Yeshua said that. Like the pig goes back to his own mud. That's all I got for you. But I'm telling you, watch your backs out there. Because I'm telling you, Esau is getting real aggressive. And Esau is going to come